In this video, we are going to deploy a React application to production using AWS Amplify. We will first test the application locally, push the source code to GitHub, connect the repository to AWS Amplify, deploy the application, connect our custom domain, enable HTTPS, and finally verify continuous deployment by pushing an update. For this demonstration, we are using the domain program guru aws.com. Let us get started. First, open the React project in Visual Studio Code. Before deploying anything, we should make sure the application works correctly on our local system. Open the terminal and install the project dependencies using npm install. Once the dependencies are installed, start the development server using npm run dev. Vite starts the application locally. Open the local address shown in the terminal. Here, our React application is running correctly. Before moving to AWS, let us also make sure that the production build succeeds. Stop the development server and run npm run build. The build completes successfully and Vite creates the optimized production files inside the dist folder. This dist folder is important because these are the files that Amplify will ultimately publish. Now we need to store the source code in a Git repository. Open GitHub and create a new repository. I am naming the repository Program Guru AWS React. Let us keep the configurations to their default values. Create the repository. GitHub now gives us the repository address. Now, get back to the Visual Studio Code. Initialize Git in the project folder. Add the project files. Create the first commit. And set the branch name to main. Then add the GitHub repository as the remote origin. Finally, push the main branch to GitHub. If Visual Studio Code is not already authenticated with GitHub, it may ask for permission to sign in. Allow the request, select the GitHub account, and authorize Visual Studio Code. This authentication is only required so that our local Git client can push the project to GitHub. Once authorization is complete, the push finishes. Return to GitHub and refresh the repository. We can now see the React project files in the main branch. Our source code is ready, so the next step is to deploy it with AWS Amplify. Open the AWS Management Console. Search for Amplify and open AWS Amplify. On the Amplify page, choose Deploy an app. Amplify can deploy applications directly from several Git providers. We are using GitHub, so select GitHub and continue. The first time we connect this AWS account to GitHub, GitHub asks us to authorize the AWS Amplify application. Review the requested access and authorize it. GitHub then asks us to install the Amplify GitHub application with the required repository permissions. Install and authorize it. This connection allows Amplify to read our source code and receive repository events when we push new commits. Back in Amplify, select the Program Guru AWS React repository. For the branch, select main. We are deploying a normal single project repository, so there is no need to enable the monorepo option. Continue to the application settings. Amplify has detected the important front-end build settings for this project. The front-end build command is npm run build. The build output directory is dist. These are the correct values for our Vite application. The build command creates the production bundle and the dist directory contains the files that Amplify will host. We do not need password protection or any additional advanced configuration for this demonstration. Continue to the review page. Here, verify the repository, the main branch, the application name, and the build settings. Once everything looks correct, Choose Save and Deploy. Amplify now starts the first deployment. It pulls the source code from GitHub, creates the build environment, runs the production build, and deploys the generated files. We do not have to manually upload the disk folder. Because Amplify is connected to our Git repository, it performs the build from the source code. After the deployment starts, Amplify also provides an amplifyapp.com address for the production branch. Once the deployment has completed, the application can already be opened using that generated address. However, we want visitors to use our own domain. From the Amplify application, open hosting and then custom domains. Or you can directly click this Add Custom Domain button here. Choose Add Domain. Enter programguruaws.com. Amplify detects that this domain already has a hosted zone in Amazon Route 53. Because the DNS is managed in Route 53, Amplify can automate most of the domain configuration for us. Choose Configure Domain. We are going to connect both the root domain, programguruaws.com, and the www version to the main branch. I am leaving the redirect option disabled, so both addresses will directly serve the application. You may enable this option if you want the redirect to happen. For the certificate, keep Amplify Manage Certificate selected. This allows Amplify to create and manage the SSL certificate required for HTTPS. Add the domain. Amplify now performs the custom domain setup in stages. First, it creates the SSL certificate. Then it configures the certificate and adds the required domain records. Because our domain is managed by Route 53, these DNS changes are handled automatically. After that, Amplify activates the domain and propagates it through the hosting network. This process is not always immediate. The status may remain in SSL configuration or domain activation for some time, so wait until Amplify shows the domain as available. Here, the setup has completed successfully. Both programguruaws.com and www.programguruaws.com are connected to the main branch. Now open programguruaws.com in the browser. Our React application is live on the custom domain. At this point, we have a complete production deployment. But one of the main benefits of connecting Amplify to GitHub is continuous deployment. Let us test that now. Return to Visual Studio Code and open the app.jsx file. I'm going to make a small change to the main heading. The new heading says React deployment updated successfully. Save the file. Now add the change to Git. Create a new commit and push it to the main branch. As soon as the commit reaches GitHub, Amplify detects it automatically and starts a new deployment. Here, we can see deployment 2 using our latest commit. Amplify runs the build again and then deploys the new version. Once both the build and deploy stages are complete, the deployment status changes to deployed. Now return to programguruaws.com and refresh the page. The updated heading is now visible in production. This confirms that our continuous deployment pipeline is working. From now on, whenever we push a new commit to the connected main branch, Amplify can automatically build and deploy the updated React application. That is how you can deploy a React application to production using AWS Amplify, GitHub continuous deployment, a custom domain, and HTTPS. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more AWS tutorials.